Now, I did explain what is an interrupt. Now you have to understand that what actually happens when a program is being executed line by line in fetch, decode, execute way. Every single instruction is being executed. What happens if the interrupt is generated? So let's start from instruction is fetched, then it is decoded and executed. Whole fetch, decode, execute cycle is completed for one instruction, and then system checks for the interrupt. Where? In interrupt register. If interrupt exists, if it is not, then system goes for the next instruction of the current program, but it checks that if there is any more instruction. And then it goes for the next instruction, fetch, decode, and execute, and then checks for the interrupt again. Let's say if the interrupt exists after first instructions or the current instructions execution, it checks that interrupt exists. If it exists, then it compares the priority of the current job with the priority of the program which is related to interrupt. Let's say the priority of the current program which is being executed is high, then the interrupt will be pushed to the queue so that it could be dealt later. And the program's next instruction for the current program will be fetched and executed. Then let's say if there is an interrupt and its related program's priority is higher than the current program's priority, in that case, the content of the registers along with the line number, the instruction, current instruction address, everything is saved to the memory, which is ISR or RAM. And then the system loads ISR. Load the ISR. ISR determines that which program is related to this current interrupt, and it determines that how to handle this interrupt. Anyways, the interrupt is served. Once the interrupt is served, the previous program, which was the program originally when the interrupt is generated, it loads the previous job's content from the main memory or immediate IAS, immediate access store, back to the registers in the processor, and the previous program's next instruction is again fetched and the process goes on. So after the execution of every single instruction, system checks for the interrupt in the interrupt register. If the interrupt is found, it checks the priority of the interrupt with the current program. If the priority of the interrupt is high, then the content of the current program in the registers will be saved to IAS, immediate access store or RAM. And then ISR, interrupt service routine, is called. That service routine helps system, means operating system, to handle the interrupt. Afterwards, the interrupt, when it is handled, the previous program's content for the registers from the memory or IAS, immediate access store, is restored to the registers, and the execution of the program, the previous program, goes on. All right, so this might be something that you may be asked for in the exam, that what happens when an interrupt is generated during the fetch, decode, execute cycle. You would say when the current fetch, decode, execute cycle for the current instruction is ended, then system handles the interrupt. So if interrupt is generated during fetch, decode, execute cycle, it is not handled after the fetch, decode, execute cycle. Sometimes they ask for how the interrupt is handled, so you would have to write the whole thing. Sometimes they ask after the fetch, decode, execute cycle, state the number of actions taken by the operating system to handle the interrupt. Sometimes they say that if the interrupt is generated and its priority is high, then what happens? Then you would have to write later, after first, second, third, fourth, fifth step, from the sixth step onwards. So let's summarize it this way, that whatever the question related to interrupt would be for this flowchart of interrupts handling. All right. And then sometimes we also have the types of the interrupt, which is not a part of the syllabus now, but there are certain types of interrupts, and these types would have their own priorities. So let's discuss that some other day. Now, afterwards, get back to the syllabus, what else we have to cover. As far as until now, yesterday we discussed that only the interrupt thing is remaining, and rest everything we have discussed in 4.1. So now 4.1 is completed, 4.2 is completed, and then let's get down to 4.3. Now this 4.3 bit manipulation, earlier it was part of A2. In this new syllabus, this is part of AS now. So it used to be until last year, even those students for 9608 who appeared in last June, or they will appear in this October as well, they will be handling this bit manipulation in their A2 exam, but for you it is in AS now. So this is one of the change that is from the previous lecture to this lecture, that bit manipulation is now part of AS. So now what is bit manipulation? You need to first understand one thing from your O level. If you do remember, in O level, there was a topic that was use of binary in computers. There was a topic which was use of binary in computers. Let me remind you of that topic before we go any further. Just give me a second. So there are a few questions from that topic, use of binary in computer systems. This is O-level question, just to remind you that how actually we are dependent over bits when it comes to the computer which is controlling something. Controlling means it is taking input from sensors, taking decision over it, and then with the help of these registers, it is working out for us. So if a computer is doing anything by itself, it is actually with the help of these registers inside the hardware, and every bit of that register is actually responsible for some action. So let's say for this particular question, a 7-segment display. Why do we call it 7-segment? Because this digit is being shown with 7 different lines, vertical and horizontal lines. Let's say if I want to make 7, I will make line number 1, 2, and 3 lit, and 6, 7, 5, 4 off. And if I want to make 2, then I would light 1, 2, 7, 5, 4, and I will make this 6 and 3 off. So that is how we will be creating. So this whole 7-segment display is associated to this register. This is 8-bit register. They say that bit 0 on least significant side will remain 0, and rest of the bits will be representing one of the segment or line of this digital display, so that whenever you put 1 in that respective bit, that will play a role of power switch. So as soon as you put 1 in that, what will happen? That particular segment or line will be lit, and whenever you put 0, that will be switched off then. So if it is 3, then it means that you would have to put 0 in 6 and 5, and 1, 2, 7, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 7, 3 and 4 will be 1. So this is actually the use of bits. You can see that sometimes you don't have to change the whole byte. Sometimes you have to change the bit of that particular byte, and you want to keep remaining of the bits same, but you want to change few of the bits. This is called bit manipulation. And then in bit manipulation, let me show you one very important thing. I'm not discussing it in greater detail because you would have already done it in O levels. So over here, you can see that one single digit is responsible for this 4-bit register. There are 4 registers here, and every register has got 4 bits associated. So if it is 0, then they are tackling it like a binary number, binary integer number, 1, 2, 4, 8. So if it is 8, then it is 1 triple 0. If it is 0, then all zeros. Then if it is 3 double 0 double 1, and if it is 5, then it is 0 1 0 1. So, and then sometimes we have bit shifting. Bit shifting is something very important, and that bit shifting is part of O levels, but not directly under the topic, but just as a practice in exam without telling that what exactly is happening. So now you can see this 1 byte which is showing the value 27, 16 plus 8, 24 plus 2, 26 plus 1, 27. And we have shifted the bits towards the left. So when we have shifted the bits towards the left, the bit on the most significant side has gone out of the register or the byte, and an empty space is created on the right side which is filled with 0. Now you can see that the number has become what? 54. So when you shift left, the number becomes doubled. So 27 has become 54. Now the question says all the bits in the binary number have now been shifted, moved 1 places to the left. What binary number does this now represent? 54. B is what effect did the shift have on the original binary number? It multiplies the number by 2. If the binary number was shifted another 1 place to the left, what binary value would it be equivalent to? That 54 will become 108. Represent the binary number 46 as an 8-bit binary number. So we have represented 32 plus 8, 42 plus 4, 40, 42, 32 plus 8 is 40, 40 plus 4, 44 plus 2, 46. And then they say that shift 8 bits binary number 2 places to the left. So when we move it 1 place to the left, you can see that this 46 would become 92, and then when we move it 1 place further to the left, the thing will become 184. So this is 2 times left shift. Every time, if it is 2, it becomes 4. If it is 4, it becomes 8. So let's say if it is 10 and we want to move it thrice towards the left. So 10 would become, in first shift, 10 would become 20. In second shift, it would become 40, and in third shift it would become 80. That is how it works. means 2 to power n times it increases itself. 2 to power n. What is n then? N is the number of shifts. And then it is multiplied by that. Anyways, so this bit shifting is actually something really important. And there are multiple questions in O levels, but over here, we are not going to solve all these questions. I just wanted to show you these questions to remind you of what you have done in O level. And then now let's get to the topic, which is in actually AS. So it is an important topic which have roots in O level, but actually in AS it is a detailed one. Okay, now bit manipulation. Let's first pay attention to the details. What is bit manipulation? What are the operations that we can understand? How bit manipulation actually is used and all. So bit manipulation. Let's first, as usual, let's first start with the key terms. Bit manipulation. Hold on for a bit. So now the topic is bit manipulation. What you should already know. You should already know what end you should already know. AND gate, we know it properly. OR gate and exclusive OR gate, we have an idea of it. So what AND gate does, what OR gate does, what exclusive OR gate does, we have studied it in O levels as well as in AS level. Now there are key terms which you have to actually understand before we go any further. And we will keep use these key terms throughout the bit manipulation lecture. First one is shift. Shift means moving the bits in a register a given number of places within the registers. And there are different types of shifts. The first one is left logical shift. The shift that you have just observed in O levels was the logical shift. Logical shift, bits shifted out of the registers are replaced with zeros. So if you are shifting towards the left, places on the right are becoming empty, so you will put zeros in it. And if you are shifting towards the right, places over the left on the most significant bit side will be emptied, so you would have to put them, fill them with zeros. So that is logical shift. Then we have got arithmetic shift. Arithmetic shift. Arithmetic shift, in this shift we will preserve the sign of the number. Let's say if you have a number which is saved in the form of 2's two's complement format, which you would have already studied in numbers. So if you have -2, then the sign of that particular number will be preserved. The shift that you have just observed was unsigned integer. So if it is a signed integer, then system tries to hold on the sign of the number. So we will see that how that happens. And then we have got cyclic shift. So cyclic shift is basically a shift which does not make us to lose the bits which fall outside the register. For example, if you are shifting it towards the left, so bits on the left side will be dropped out of the register. So in cyclic shift, what happens that if you are shifting towards the left, so toward the left, all the bits which are being dropped will be inserted from the right. So it's a cycle, it's a circle. So what goes out from the left comes back in from the right. It's like a chain in motorcycle or cycle. And if you are shifting towards the right, the bits which are being dropped off from the least significant side will get back in from the most significant side. That is called cyclic shift. Anyways, we are going to practice this in Visual Basic, and the most concerned shift that we actually require to understand is the logical shift. All right, and most programming languages actually help to understand logical shifts, and we will be actually understanding the shifts in terms of logical shifts only later. So cyclic shift, then I described what? Left shift. Then I described right shift. Then the system that requires all this bit manipulation is called monitoring and control system. Monitoring and control system, we have to look into it as well. So let's suppose that you have got a phone, it's a screen, you are watching something over the screen. As soon as you bring it close to your ear to talk to someone, what basically happens, the sensors, they realize, the proximity sensor, the distance sensor that realizes that now your phone is basically close to your ear or your face, or you have covered it with your palm even. Then as soon as that distance is finished, system asks the screen light to be switched off. System asks the screen light to be switched off. So what you can now realize that what is happening, the system is having an input from the proximity sensor. So proximity sensor is basically related to a single register's bit, so to a single bit of certain register. So that bit, what that bit does, it acts like a switch. So when it is 1 in there, screen is lit. When it is 0 in there, screen is off, switched off. So that is how it actually works. The part of the system which is reading the input from the sensor is called monitor, and the part of the system which after monitoring takes the decision and does or perform action is called control. We will look into it exclusively later. So monitor, to automatically take readings from a device like sensor. Control, to automatically take readings from a device, then use the data from those readings to adjust the device. So taking input from one device and adjusting another device. The device which is giving input is mostly sensor. The device which is giving output could be any, but there is a generalized term for that device that is called actuator. So all the devices or the parts of the devices which bring change to the environment are called actuator. Let's say you have got this split AC in your room or the window AC in your room. There is a device inside it called compressor. That compressor is responsible for the cooling effect that you feel when you switch on your air conditioner. So system, with the help of input from the thermostat, will actually switch on and off this actuator, which is thermostat. That is how it works. So that is actuator. And then when we will be studying input output devices, we will also be studying few of the sensors, as you would have already done it in O levels. And then we have got a mask. Now the term mask is used for the values which we use to manipulate the bits inside the register. What does it mean? It means that a register has got some value already in it. We want to change the values. So for changing the values, we will perform few actions with another value. That another value is called mask. You would understand it when I'll start doing it. All right. So these are the key terms that we will be using again and again and again. I introduced you with these key terms so that when they come up again, all right, so you could realize that yes, these are the things that are talked about earlier. Now, so let's just talk about it now. Let's go further and see what's happening. A shift involves moving the bits stored in a register a given number of places within the register. Each bit within the register may be used for a different purpose. For example, in the interrupt register, each bit identifies a different interrupt. All right. There are several different types of shifts. First one is logical shift. Bits shifted out of the registers are replaced with 0. For example, an 8-bit registers containing the binary value, let's say 10101111, shifted left logically 3 places. So 3 zeros will be introduced from the right side. Then arithmetic shift. So let me write it down. Logical shift. So let's say you have got a register, 8-bit registers, and it has got value 10101111, and you have shifted it left 3 places. So 3 places means these 3 bits on the left 101 are now dropped. So it has become 01111, and on the right side 3 zeros will be introduced. All right. So if we like to put it in algorithmic form, if you see, if you would like to do it in a computer language, you should have it in an instruction form. So in that case, which value is this? 1010 and 1111. Let me know बेटे, बताओ कौन सी value है ये? 10101111. Which value is this? बता दो भाई, सो रहे हो, देख रहे हो, क्या कर रहे हो आप लोग? Anyone? Through chat. जी ये तो बाइनरी तो है 10101111. डेनरी में क्या है बेटे? डेनरी में बताइए. क्या सारे लोग सो रहे हैं? अलीजा, असद, हानी, Nabira, Turab, Zuhair, everyone. What's going on, beta? 10101111. Which value is this? जरा आप सब प्रेजेंट तो लगाएं. यस, दैट इज 175. जरा आप लोग सब प्रेजेंट तो लगाएं. लेट मी सी कौन कौन इस वक्त स्क्रीन के सामने बैठा हुआ है. सब इस वक्त, इसका मतलब है स्क्रीन के सामने नहीं है. ऑलराइट, आई गेट इट. ओके, सो दिस इज 175. अगर हम इसको लॉजिकली, algorithmically, in pseudocode अगर हम इसको दिखाना चाहते हैं तो this would be like this. A is equal to 175. All right, so this will save is 10101111 in A, and then I want to shift A 3 times. So, and the value, this value I will assign, this is, let's say this is A, this is B. I'll assign it to B. So I'll be like B is equal to A shifted 3 places. So that is a legit operator, left less than less than. All right. So this would become, this will actually shift 3 places towards the left, and it will make it, it will assign the new value to B. So what is B now? 120. Wonderful. Good, honey. Good, Alize. So this is basically good. All right. So that is how it is shifted towards left. So if I want to move it towards right, similarly, I'll use greater than and greater than sign. And then we have got arithmetic shift. The sign of the number is preserved. For example, let's say an 8-bit register containing the binary value, same binary value, 10101111. Now you can see that this is a negative number. This is a negative number since the sign bit is negative. Let's deal this number. Yes. Now let's make this number, let's shift it. This is a negative number. Yes, shifting three places towards the right will give 21. Yes. अगर हम लॉजिकल शिफ्ट में उसको राइट पे शिफ्ट करते तो वो डिफरेंट हो जाता, ऑब्वियसली वो 1 2 4 8 16 नहीं बेटा 15 हो जाता. हाँ, सॉरी सही 21 हो जाता. Now arithmetic shift. So this, what arithmetic shift does? Arithmetic shifts, the sign of the number is preserved. So let's say we have got this number 10101111 shifted right arithmetically 3 places. Would become what? This would become right 3 places. So 1 1 1 101 01. So have you seen that this bit is a negative bit? This is a sign bit which is negative. So when 3 places are added on the left, they remain 1. Okay. So whatever the sign bit, it is copied. If it is 0, then 0 will be copied. If it is 1, that will be copied. Unlike logical shift, where when we are actually dropping, we are inserting zeros on the right and the left. Over here in arithmetic shift, when we are shifting right or left, whatever the sign bit, if it is 1, it is negative. If it is 0, it is positive. we will actually be filling in that on the left if it is right shift. And if it is left shift, in that case हम लोग जो है वो zeros भरेंगे on the right side. So now, so drop bits को हम sign bit की value से replace करते हैं. Yes, this is exactly the same. So drop bits are replaced with sign bit values. Wow, that is the most appropriate thing. So when shifting right with an arithmetic right shift, the least significant bit is lost and the most significant bit is copied. And most significant bit is what? As Hani said, the sign bit. Languages handle arithmetic and logic right shifts in different ways. We don't have, we will be studying Visual Basic in AS and Python in A2. So in AS, in Visual Basic and Python, we are not going to discuss arithmetic shifts because that is not there. There are no commands, and if there are any, I don't know of. I haven't seen it. I never have seen it. So that is not required for syllabus as well. In syllabus, we will be actually programming for only logical shifts. So let's say let me remind you once again. In logical shift, let's say if it is 1011, register is 4 bits, and we have shifted it one place, then it would become what? It would become 101101. So let's say if it is 1011 and we shifted 3 places, it will become if it is what, 3 shifts, so 1 2 3 0 0 0 1, and this would be 0, sorry. So this is logical shift. 1 0 1 0. Yes. All right. So now let's say if it is arithmetic shift and we want to preserve the sign, so in that case, let's say in arithmetic shifts, let's say if it is 1011, 1011 is -5, and we shift it towards the right one time, this would become 1101. So this has become -3. All right, so this is arithmetic shift. So 1011 is actually what? -5. And this is actually what? 1101 -3. Similarly, if it would be in logical shifting, the same signed arithmetic, if it is logical shifting and it is all ones means -1, and we shift it right, then it will be 7 then. So we are not going to discuss that in that detail. So you get the idea of arithmetic shifts. And then we have got cyclic shifts. Cyclic shifts. Let's say we have got this number 0 0 1 1 1 1 0 1, and we are shifting it 2 places to the left. So what will happen, that these 2 zeros will enter from the right side. So this would become 1 1 1 1 0 1 and then 2 zeros. And let's say if we are moving it 0 0 1 1 1 1 0 1, 3 places towards the right. So this one will be here, then this 0 afterwards, and this 1 afterwards, and rest remain the same. 0 0 1 1 1. Get the idea? So this 101 from the right side entered from the left. All right, so this is 3 places shift. First we moved it towards the left. So these numbers, these 2 bits were actually made their way on the right side from most significant bit side to the, this is most significant bit side to the left significant bit side. Similarly, if we move it towards the left, sorry, the right, bits on the right will make their way from the left side. So we cannot just say right, left, rather we would say that bits from the least significant bit side will make their way from the most significant bit side. So this is called cyclic shift. Which sort of shift it is? Cyclic shift. And then you understood right shift, left shift. Now there are assembly language commands, means opcodes for left shifting and right shifting, and that is only for, don't forget that we are studying processor fundamentals and assembly language. So the instructions will be there, and this would be only for logical shift. So the first opcode is LSL. LSL and operand would be N. Bits in accumulator, as we know that every other command is only pointing out to the accumulator. So what will happen when we pass this instruction LSL, let's say 1. So bits in accumulator are shifted logically N places to the left. Zeros are introduced on the right hand side. Similarly, we have got another instruction which is Aliza, I'm going to answer you shortly. Please hold on. LSR. This is bits in the accumulator are shifted logically N places to the right side. LSL means shift left. LSR means shift right. Zeros are introduced on the left hand end. And for your syllabus, shifts are always performed on the accumulator. Now let's take this question. Aliza says that, so basically in the logical one, means logical shifts, we just have to move the bits and calculate the denary value. In arithmetic, we have to find the sign integer and we will be filling it that signed bit in the newly introduced bits of the register, yes. And in cyclic, we have to switch places of the first 4 with the last 4. Not necessarily 4, it is any number. If you are shifting 1, only the rightmost 1 bit will be introduced from the left side. If we are shifting twice, the 2 bits on the right side in the cyclic shifts will be introduced from the left. That is how it works. All right, so all we need to do is to pay attention to the just logical shifts, because that is the part of your syllabus. Now let's see what syllabus says. If you could see, these are just two commands, LSL and LSR. And since this gives the value itself, not the address, we use hash sign as well. Okay. So now LSL and LSR, we have discussed it. We have also seen these labels thing in symbolic addressing. I have already covered it. We give label here instead of the address. We use this colon. This colon signifies that this is a label, and then we have got opcode and operand. We have solved many questions related to this earlier as well. And then we can also give the label to the data so that we could refer to this data with the name instead of address. Give symbolic address label to the memory location with the content of the data. So we have covered LSL, LSR, and these labels already. In the next class, I'm going to discuss AND, exclusive OR, and OR, and then we will write few programs in Visual Basic to understand that how actually this works when we use it in the languages. All right. In monitoring and control, each bit in the register or memory location can be used as a flag and would need to be tested, set or cleared separately. So if we like to, instead of moving, shifting left and right, if we like to tackle with only few of the bits, let's say out of 8 bits register, I want to change 3rd bit and 7th bit. I don't want to shift or anything. I just want to change 3rd bit and 7th bit. In that case, I'll be using AND, exclusive OR, and OR. I might like to switch it. I want to, let's say I want to make 0, 1. I want to make 1 a 0. I might like to clear it. Clear it means whatever is there, just make it 0. I want to, let's say sometimes I want to set it. Whatever it is there, just make it 1. So it is set. So set means putting 1. Clear means making it 0. Switching means making it vice versa, toggling it. What do we say? Inversing it. All right. So for example, a control system with 8 different sensors would need to record when the data from each sensor had been processed. This could be shown or written using 8 different bits in the same memory location. So let's say we have got a byte. Every single bit is related to one of the register, one of the sensor. That sensor, when it is giving a value, that particular bit related to that sensor is being set as 1 or being cleared as 0. So in that case, AND is used to check if the bit has been set, and operation. OR is used to set the bit, and exclusive OR is to use is to be used to clear a bit that has been set. Now in the next class I will explain this AND, exclusive OR, and OR. So I hope that we understood these bit manipulation things now clearly. We would have to solve a few of the questions, we would have to take a few of the examples, and we will also have to do this in Visual Basic so that we have an idea that how we use it. But in your syllabus, it is just with the assembly language. So you won't be actually required in exam to write codes in Visual Basic or pseudocode, just with the assembly language. But for your knowledge, I will be writing few of the programs in Visual Basic so that you have an idea that if the computer is actually dealing with it. Obviously, whatever we do in high-level languages is actually turned into low-level language, assembly language, or the machine code by the compilers, and also whether you do it in high level language or low level language, in Visual Basic, Python, or the assembly language, ultimately when it reaches to the computer, it is in this form, which is in front of you. Anyways, are there any questions? So AND, exclusive or remains, LSL, LSR, and labels I have actually defined. Any other question if you have? Or let's just wind up our class.